My name is Arjun, and I grew up in a small village where my family knew little comfort. We had very little money. My father toiled as a farmer, earning just enough to put food on our table, while my mother, a devoted housewife, cared for me and my younger sister. From a young age, I harbored a powerful dream to build a better life, to ease my parents' burdens, to make them proud, and to ensure they lived without a single worry. I longed for a life free from financial struggle, a life where we wouldn't constantly battle to pay for necessities. I understood that to achieve this dream, I needed to acquire a significant skill, something that would unlock countless opportunities. My path became clear one day in middle school when a new boy, Rohan, joined our class. He had arrived from the USA, and he was unlike anyone I had ever met. Rohan wore fashionable clothes, carried English books, and spoke the language with breathtaking fluency. His words flowed like a captivating melody, making him seem like he belonged to an entirely different world. I was mesmerized by his effortless command of English. Watching him ignited a profound desire within me, a burning wish to emulate him, to be confident, intelligent, and perfectly fluent in English. That night, sleep eluded me. I lay awake, envisioning myself speaking English with absolute confidence. In my dreams, I stood before vast crowds, delivering eloquent speeches in flawless English, met with thunderous applause. But the moment I awoke, reality crashed back. I couldn't even construct a simple English sentence without making mistakes. At school, I would retreat to the back of the classroom, straining to catch every word Rohan uttered. I desperately wanted to absorb his vocabulary, but it was incredibly difficult. The harder I tried, the more acutely aware I became of the immense distance I had to travel. Shame often washed over me. My classmates would sometimes mock my attempts at English, finding my accent strange and my words clumsy. Yet, despite the sting of their laughter, I refused to surrender. I was determined to learn no matter how long it took. One afternoon, my teacher, Mrs. Singh, noticed my unusual quietness. After class, she called me to her desk and gently asked if something was troubling me. I hesitated, then poured out my heart, confessing my fervent desire to speak English fluently. I explained my ambition for a better future, but admitted I felt lost, unsure of where to begin. I was wary of the mockery, but steadfast in my dream. Mrs. Singh smiled with genuine warmth. Arjun, she said, learning English is just like mastering any other skill. You don't become an expert overnight. You must start with the fundamentals and build steadily. I will guide you, but you must make me one promise that you will never give up. I embraced Mrs. Singh's wisdom, resolving to start with the basics and progress step by step. My initial focus was on reading simple English. Mrs. Singh provided me with a children's storybook written in easy English. The sentences were short and the vocabulary accessible, allowing me to understand most of it. I would read each story, sentence by sentence, and whenever I encountered an unfamiliar word, I would consult my small dictionary. I diligently maintained a notebook, recording every new word, along with its meaning, in my native language. One of the greatest hurdles was remembering new words. I often learned a word only to forget it the very next day. Mrs. Singh offered a crucial tip. Arjun, if you use a new word in a sentence, it becomes much easier to retain. So, each evening, I would review my notebook, select a few words, and craft sentences using them. For instance, if I learned achieve, I would write, I want to achieve my goals, and speak it aloud. This practice of integrating words into my own sentences significantly aided my memory, and slowly, my vocabulary began to flourish. Mrs. Singh later emphasized, Arjun, listening is just as vital as speaking. You need to immerse yourself in English every day. She suggested I listen to English news or watch simple English videos. At first, I understood very little, but I never wavered. I would listen intently, trying to grasp any familiar words. Even if I only caught a few, I felt a sense of advancement. I also started listening to English songs, attempting to follow the lyrics. Mrs. Singh assured me that even without full comprehension, my brain was adapting to the unique sounds and rhythms of English. Pronunciation presented another significant challenge. Sometimes when I spoke, my words sounded incorrect, and my friends would laugh at my accent. It made me feel small and inadequate, but I clung to Mrs. Singh's words. Fluency and correct pronunciation develop with consistent practice. Don't worry about your accent right now. To refine my pronunciation, I would listen to native English speakers and meticulously repeat after them, paying close attention to their mouth movements and how they articulated each word. Gradually, my pronunciation improved, and I became less self-conscious about my accent. A particularly effective strategy for me was learning common phrases instead of isolated words. Instead of merely learning good, I would absorb phrases like good morning, good job, or good luck. This approach made words easier to remember and helped me speak more naturally. Mrs. Singh explained that English speakers frequently use idiomatic phrases, so learning in chunks was highly beneficial. I began practicing phrases such as, how are you? Thank you so much, and can you help me? Soon, these expressions became automatic, flowing from me without conscious thought. As my reading skills advanced, Mrs. Singh encouraged me to tackle more challenging materials. She gave me a simple English newspaper and advised me to read one article daily. These articles contained more complex vocabulary, but I relished the challenge. If I encountered an unknown word, I would note it in my notebook and look it up later. I observed that the more I read, the easier it became to infer the meaning of new words from context. Mrs. Singh clarified that engaging with diverse materials, stories, articles, and even English advertisements accelerated vocabulary acquisition and comprehension far more effectively than rote memorization. Speaking English aloud remained one of my greatest fears. I dreaded making mistakes. But Mrs. Singh firmly stated, mistakes are an integral part of learning. Speak aloud, even if you are alone. So every morning, I would stand before my mirror and practice speaking to myself in English. I would introduce myself, discuss my day, or imagine conversations. Initially, it felt awkward and strange, but with time, I grew more comfortable. This mirror practice significantly boosted my confidence. It felt like conversing with a trusted friend. There were days when discouragement weighed heavily upon me. I would exert so much effort, yet sometimes I perceived no progress. Thoughts like, why am I even doing this? Will I ever truly become fluent? Plagued my mind. But then, I would recall my profound dream to forge a better life for my family, to unlock opportunities that would transform our future. Whenever I felt on the verge of giving up, I reminded myself that this was merely one small step on a vast journey. I couldn't expect to reach my destination overnight, but by taking consistent, small steps each day, I would inevitably get there. Mrs. Singh handed me a book titled The Power of Positive Thinking. She said, "This book will help you stay motivated and cultivate self-belief." I read a page every day, striving to internalize its message. The book taught me that with unwavering self-belief and a positive outlook, I could achieve anything. I also began reading other simple motivational books, which helped me maintain focus and kept my motivation high for daily English practice. I soon realized that learning English couldn't be an occasional endeavor. It had to be woven into my daily fabric. I dedicated at least 1 hour each day solely to English practice. During this time, I would read, construct sentences with new words, listen to English audio, or speak aloud. This consistent daily dedication yielded slow but undeniable improvement. Mrs. Singh's constant refrain, "Consistency is the key to success," was becoming profoundly clear to me. At school, some classmates continued to laugh at my errors. It stung, but I consciously reminded myself of my deeper purpose: to transform my life and secure a brighter future for my family. Mrs. Singh offered solace. "Arjun, disregard their laughter. They laugh because they cannot comprehend your dreams. Focus steadfastly on your goal, and one day they will witness your success." Her words fortified my resolve, and I began to feel a quiet pride in my journey, imperfect though it was. Eventually, I befriended Amit, who also aspired to improve his English. We decided to practice together daily, conversing solely in English. Practicing with Amit made learning more enjoyable, and we could correct each other's mistakes. Having a study partner provided invaluable motivation and made the journey feel far less solitary. Learning English was arduous, and I frequently felt frustrated. Yet, I persistently affirmed to myself, every day I am improving, even if I cannot yet perceive it. I learned to celebrate every minor triumph. Finishing a book, understanding a new word. I grasped that learning is a continuous journey, and perfection wasn't a prerequisite. Every small step propelled me closer to my dream. I knew I was only at the beginning, but I had already traveled so far. My vocabulary expanded, my confidence blossomed, and I was steadily approaching fluency. My dream of speaking English fluently was drawing nearer, filling me with a deep sense of pride and joy. As the days turned into weeks, my confidence continued to soar. I was acquiring more words, speaking more proficiently, and even starting to follow English conversations with greater ease. Yet, I knew there was still a significant distance to cover. I yearned to sound truly natural, to speak without hesitation or stumbling. So, I embarked on new methods Mrs. Singh introduced. One day, she suggested I try watching English movies or TV shows with subtitles. She explained, When you hear native speakers, you'll learn their authentic speech patterns, how they convey emotions, use body language, and react in real situations. I felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. I chose a simple English cartoon to start, something with straightforward vocabulary and clear pronunciation. Initially, it was challenging. I could only grasp a few words here and there. But I persevered. I would watch each episode twice, first with subtitles, then without. I noticed that repeated exposure to the same words significantly aided my recall. Over time, my comprehension grew, and watching movies and shows transformed into an enjoyable activity that enhanced both my listening and pronunciation. I even picked up common phrases like, "What's up? No problem," and "I'm on my way," which enriched my speaking style and made me feel more natural. A pivotal moment arrived when I decided to challenge myself by using English outside of structured practice. I visited a small shop in the village and resolved to speak to the shopkeeper in English. "Hello, how are you today?" I greeted him. He looked surprised but offered a smile and replied in Hindi. Undeterred, I continued, "I need some milk and bread, please." I could sense people around me observing, but I pressed on. The shopkeeper handed me the items, and I thanked him, saying, "Thank you very much." From that day forward, I made it a habit to practice English in small, real-world interactions, ordering food, greeting strangers, even asking for directions. These small victories gradually built my confidence, and I felt immense pride in applying my English skills in daily life. Inevitably, I still made mistakes while speaking. For instance, I once said, "He don't have a book," instead of "he doesn't have a book." My friend gently corrected me, and I felt a pang of embarrassment. But Mrs. Singh's words echoed in my mind. Mistakes are proof that you are trying. Each mistake you make is a step forward. From then on, I maintained a special notebook where I meticulously recorded every error I made alongside its correct form. This practice helped me avoid repeating the same mistakes, and as a result, my grammar steadily improved. I realized that to speak correctly, a deeper understanding of English grammar was essential. Mrs. Singh recommended starting with the fundamentals, understanding tenses, present, past, and future, sentence structure, and parts of speech as nouns, verbs, adjectives, etc. She provided me with simple exercises for each concept. For example, I am going to school, present continuous. I went to school yesterday, past simple. I will go to school tomorrow, say future simple. Each day, I practice these sentences, gradually incorporating more complex structures. As my grasp of English rules solidified, my confidence surged. Yet grammar provided a secure foundation for my speech, making my sentences sound more accurate and natural. Once my reading skills were well established, Mrs. Singh encouraged me to read English books that genuinely captivated my interest. If you read things you're passionate about, she advised, you'll learn faster because you'll be eager to keep reading. So, I selected a simple novel, a story about a boy who harbored grand dreams, much like myself. Every evening, I would read a few pages, allowing myself to become lost in the narrative. I was astonished by how much I could comprehend and delighted in discovering new words. I would look up their meanings and diligently add them to my vocabulary notebook. In this way, reading transformed into both a powerful learning tool and a cherished hobby. My love for reading flourished, becoming one of the most fulfilling aspects of my English journey. As my confidence continued to grow, Mrs. Singh suggested I join an English speaking group. A small gathering convened every Saturday where villagers practiced English together. Initially, I was apprehensive. Speaking in front of others felt vastly different from practicing alone or with friends. But I knew that to truly advance, I had to venture beyond my comfort zone. During the meetings, we would take turns discussing various topics. Sometimes our aspirations, other times current events. Each time, I pushed myself to speak clearly and confidently, even if I made errors. Being part of this group offered invaluable opportunities to practice, learn from my peers, and hone my public speaking abilities. It was daunting, but also exhilarating to witness my own progress. One day, Mrs. Singh shared another insight. If you aspire to sound like a native speaker, try learning some idioms and expressions. They lend color and authenticity to your speech. She provided me with a list of common idioms, such as break the ice, a blessing in disguise, and bite the bullet. Each day, I would choose an idiom, learn its meaning, and strive to incorporate it into a sentence. For example, if I felt nervous before speaking, I might say, I need to bite the bullet and do this. Mastering these expressions made my English sound richer and more nuanced. And I felt a deeper connection to the language. To cultivate my writing proficiency, Mrs. Singh asked me to start keeping a journal. Every night, I would jot down a few lines about my day, my dreams, or whatever was on my mind. At first, articulating my thoughts proved challenging, but with consistent effort, it became easier. I discovered that writing helped me organize my ideas and practice new vocabulary and grammar structures. Each week, Mrs. Singh would review my journal, offering corrections and guidance. I felt a profound sense of accomplishment watching my writing improve, and it also solidified my memory of new words and grammatical rules. Writing evolved into another indispensable tool on my journey, empowering me to express myself confidently in English. Mrs. Singh then presented me with a new challenge preparing short speeches. Arjun, she said, speaking in front of others will dramatically build your confidence and fluency. I would select a topic, draft a few lines, and practice relentlessly. I began with simple subjects like my family, my favorite book, and my dream. Initially, I would stumble and forget my lines, but with each rehearsal, I improved. Eventually, I delivered my first complete speech to the Saturday group. Despite my nervousness, everyone clapped and offered encouraging words. It was a moment of immense pride, further strengthening my self-belief. There were moments when learning English felt like an insurmountable mountain. I would feel utterly exhausted and question if I would ever achieve fluency. Yet, whenever these doubts arose, I would forcefully remind myself of my dream to forge a better life for my family, to unlock opportunities that would transform our future. I recalled my initial motivation and how far I had already come. I would tell myself, if I keep going, one day I'll look back and be proud of every single step I took. Mrs. Singh also gently reminded me that learning English was not a race. It's a journey, Arjun, she would say. Every small step brings you closer to your goal. Her words consistently rekindled my spirit, and I remained determined to press forward, no matter how formidable the obstacles. As I gained more experience, Mrs. Singh encouraged me to practice speaking in front of larger audiences. Arjun, she asserted, if you can speak confidently to strangers, you will conquer any remaining fear of speaking English. This was a daunting prospect, but I accepted the challenge. I volunteered to speak at village events, delivering short talks, and even facilitating discussions on topics like education and community development. At first, my hands would tremble and my heart would pound furiously. But I persisted. With each speaking engagement, my confidence expanded. I would meticulously prepare my speeches, practice in front of the mirror, and consciously remind myself to speak slowly and clearly. I discovered that people listened attentively, offered encouragement, and cheered for me. Soon, English felt as comfortable as my native tongue, yet I realized that public speaking was an incredibly potent method for building fluency. Learning English was no longer an activity dependent on motivation. It had become an ingrained part of my daily routine. I would awaken, practice speaking in front of the mirror, read a book, and listen to English audio while performing chores. Mrs. Singh imparted the wisdom that consistency was paramount. Just like water shapes a rock over time, she explained, daily practice shapes your skills. To maintain my regimen, I created a timetable encompassing reading, speaking, listening, and writing exercises. I didn't wait for motivation. I cultivated discipline. Even when tired, I would engage in a small task like reviewing vocabulary or reading a few pages. Over time, this routine solidified my commitment and seamlessly integrated English learning into my life. To make English feel even more natural, I began incorporating it into everyday tasks. When I went to the market, I would silently describe everything I observed in English. When assisting my family with farm work, I would name every tool and task in English. Mrs. Singh enthusiastically supported this, explaining, the more you use English, the more it becomes a part of your thinking. I even taught some basic English phrases to my family members. It felt incredible to share my newfound knowledge with them. This constant practice improved my word retention and strengthened my ability to think directly in English. Mrs. Singh also recommended that I keep a journal entirely in English, recording my thoughts, dreams, and daily experiences. A journal, she told me, is like a conversation with yourself. It helps you articulate your feelings and builds confidence in your writing. Every night, I would write a few lines about my day. Initially, finding the right words was a struggle, but gradually, it became easier. Daily writing helped me expand my vocabulary, organize my thoughts, and commit new words and grammar to memory. I would often revisit my older entries, marveling at how much I had improved. Witnessing my progress on paper provided a profound sense of accomplishment and spurred me to continue pushing forward. Mrs. Singh taught me the transformative power of goal setting. Arjun, she said, If you possess a clear vision, you will know precisely where to direct your focus. I established a long-term goal of achieving complete fluency in English, but I also meticulously broke it down into smaller, actionable steps. I created weekly goals, such as learning 20 new words, completing a chapter of a book, or delivering a short speech. Each time I achieved a small goal, I would reward myself with something simple, like a treat or a brief break. These incremental steps made the larger journey far less daunting. Over time, I understood that every step, no matter how small, was propelling me closer to my dreams. To truly master English, Mrs. Singh suggested delving into English-speaking cultures. She explained that understanding their way of life, idioms, and traditions would make me more comfortable and intuitive with the language. I began reading about daily life in countries like the United States, the UK, and Australia. I watched documentaries and learned about their festivals, cuisine, and customs. This cultural immersion helped me grasp not just the language, but the rich context behind it. I started incorporating phrases and expressions commonly used by native speakers. Understanding the culture made English feel more relatable and fostered a deeper connection with the language. Mrs. Singh encouraged me to read the inspiring stories of individuals who had learned English as a second language and achieved remarkable success. I discovered accounts of people from humble backgrounds who, after mastering English, went on to become accomplished teachers, celebrated writers, and even influential business leaders. One story resonated particularly deeply with me, that of a young man from a rural area who struggled immensely to learn English, but ultimately became a renowned motivational speaker. Reading these narratives instilled in me the belief that if they could surmount their challenges, so could I. Their journeys became a powerful source of motivation, a constant reminder that success was attainable if I remained steadfastly determined. As my proficiency grew, Mrs. Singh introduced me to the concept of thinking in English. She explained, "If you can train your mind to think in English, speaking will become utterly natural." I started by mentally describing simple objects around me in English. The sky is blue. I'm walking to the market. Gradually, I attempted to ponder my goals, dreams, and even my worries in English. Initially, it was challenging, but with consistent practice, it became easier. Thinking in English significantly improved my response time during conversations and made the language feel like an organic extension of myself. There were still days when I felt profoundly discouraged, days when I doubted if I would ever be good enough. But I learned to celebrate even the smallest victories. Mrs. Singh would gently remind me, "Arjun, look at how far you've come. Don't focus on what's left. Celebrate every single step." I would celebrate when I learned a new word, completed a book, or delivered a speech. These small celebrations sustained my motivation and served as powerful reminders of my progress. Positive thinking became an ingrained habit, and I learned to perceive every challenge as an invaluable opportunity for growth. Years of unwavering dedication, disciplined effort, and relentless hard work had truly transformed me. I could now speak, read, write, and understand English with effortless ease. My confidence soared, No longer was I the boy who shied away from English. I had become someone capable of communicating with the entire world. When I spoke English, I felt an immense sense of pride and accomplishment. I was now equipped to apply for better jobs, communicate with people from diverse global backgrounds, and even assist others in my village who yearned to learn English. My initial dream was to lift my family out of poverty, and now I possessed the powerful tool to achieve it. After mastering English, I felt a deep calling to help others who face the same struggles I once did. I began organizing free English classes in my village, eagerly sharing the effective methods I had learned from Mrs. Singh. I taught my fellow villagers that learning English was not an impossible feat. It simply required time, patience, and an unyielding will. Witnessing the progress of others imbued me with a new sense of purpose. I realized that my English journey wasn't solely about my personal achievement. It was about contributing to my community and empowering others to realize their own dreams. To everyone who reads my story, I want you to understand that learning English truly can change your life. It may appear daunting at first, but with patience and unwavering persistence, you can attain fluency. Remember these crucial principles. Stay consistent. Practice every day, even if only for a few minutes. Set small, achievable goals, breaking your journey into manageable steps. Use English daily. Speak, write, read, and think in English as much as you possibly can. Learn from your mistakes. Every error is a lesson, so do not let them discourage you. Stay positive and celebrate all your wins, recognizing your progress no matter how minor. Today, I stand proud, knowing that I did not allow poverty or a lack of resources to hold me back. I seized every opportunity for growth, learned from my failures, and remained steadfastly focused on my dreams. Now, I am here, confident and capable, ready to face the world and fulfill my aspirations. Learning English taught me that anything is possible if you truly believe in yourself and never, ever give up. And remember, your journey is uniquely yours. Embrace it, and one day you will look back and be immensely proud of every step you took.